welcome back to True Crime Thursdays.
I feel like
Welcome.
we need to be more serious when we say that. Like,
True Crime Thursdays, yes.
welcome
Yeah, I mean,
to
you
True
know.
Crime Thursdays. Kind of.
It's just like I think our vibe naturally is just not
Yeah, I mean, these are
serious. We're
clearly
serious, but we're not serious.
yeah, these are clearly more serious topics because
We get more serious during talking about it, but
sure.
I want to get everyone's energy up first.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So,
Just to bring it down.
yeah. And on that note,
Yeah.
this
on
week
that
we're
note.
going to be talking about the Gabby Petito murder case, I guess. I guess it was a disappearance and then a murder, right? It was more of a disappearance at first, but she wasn't missing that long.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to talk about the timeline, I guess, first?
Yeah, we can go down the timeline. Let me scroll all the way up. So, I have my timeline starting on July 2nd, 2020. So, I completely forgot also that this case was right around COVID times. Because it seems like it was so long ago, but also, you know,
Yeah.
like so recent at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, July 2nd, Gabby and Brian got engaged.
Brian Laundry, is it pronounced
Laundry. I
laundry?
keep hearing laundry. Brian
It
Laundry
looks
got
like laundry.
engaged. This was found through an Instagram post of the two. And I believe they were dating for a while. Okay. And then jumping out to December 11th, Gabby posted that they got their Garden on Wheels, which is their van for all their future trips. So, um, yeah, from what I was reading about them, she was very big on social media. I guess they both were like kind of
Yeah, she had
not big on
apparently had a
social
lot of
media, but
followers.
yeah, and they were trying to grow and be this pretty much just a van life type influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So she would vlog their travels and where they went.
Right.
And yeah, they ended up buying this van, and that was pretty much their plan. They redid it to make it, semi-livable, and they drove it around and vlogged it, which is
Yeah, one
so
interesting
cute.
thing that I discovered, maybe I can like show this a second, is like her actual Instagram is like still active. Like it's, I mean, I guess it's not active, but you know, if you take a look, like you can see, her last post here was actually from August 25th, which I'm getting ahead of the timeline here, but yeah, I happened to see that like kind of, I don't know, a little odd that her like
Oh yeah.
Instagram is still out here. All of the posts from the trip, these were all from the trip, and if you read the commentary on it, it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna go back out of that because a lot of people comment on stuff like, wow, when this picture was being taken, it seemed like everything was okay, which was one of the interesting aspects, I think, of this story, because there was such a social media kind of presence to it.
Yeah.
It was an example of things looking much different on social media than they are in reality,
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Like, and because even when she did disappear, she wasn't, this famous. She wasn't super well known. She wasn't a big influencer. She didn't have a huge following. I think she was still growing and,
Mhm.
trying to do her thing and grow on social media with someone who, she thought that she loved,
Right.
which I think is why like the case is so sad to begin with. Because she was also only 22, so she was
Right.
also very young. Even the fact that she was engaged, and yeah, I feel like from the outside, everything looked very perfect, and
Oh yeah,
that's
they
just
I
how
mean,
social media is sometimes.
yeah, when you look at the pictures, they were, a cute young couple. Like everything
Mm-hmm.
looked great.
Yeah, I also saw that she just a few things about her. I guess I could talk about too. Which I actually, by the way, I also kind of like that they still have the Instagram up because I think it is almost it's like you still get to see who she was,
Right.
and
Right.
it still like portrays her,
Right. Yeah, it's almost
instead
like
of
at
just
this point,
completely
it's
getting
almost
rid
like a
of it.
memorial. If I was her
Mhm.
family, I think I'd leave it up because
Yeah.
it almost would be a comfort.
Mhm. Like
Um,
same with her YouTube videos and stuff, even
right.
though obviously it ended tragically. I think that even with all of that, it still shows like just her personality and
Right.
how things were seemingly good at one time.
Sure. And
Um,
conversely, his Instagram is no longer in existence.
yeah, so um I have that she loved art, she liked journaling, and she loved nature. She also apparently struggled with anxiety and OCD, which is something she openly talked about. Like many people in her early 20s, she also dreamed of reinventing herself and moving somewhere new, which is why she also wanted to live the van life dream out, which is also kind of cool because I definitely don't think I was in a position to just buy a van and travel the world at 22.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure. That's
I
true.
don't think, it's kind of, I always admire people that are like that, where I don't feel like I'm very type A myself, or I'm not always a planner, but somebody like Gabby to just have it in her to do whatever she wants in that aspect and just get
Mm-hmm.
up and go and do things like that, I think is
Right.
really admirable when
Yeah,
people
it's
are like
it's
that
like people
because
talk about doing things like that, but
mhm.
somebody to actually, especially to your point, that young to actually go ahead and do it is, yeah, that's admirable.
um so she met Brian, her boyfriend, while working at Publix in Florida. um He was apparently quiet and super private. His friends later described him as controlling, dismissive, and prone to emotional withdrawal. Red flag.
But don't people always say that after like nobody says that about somebody before they do something terrible. But after they do something terrible, people are like,
They're like, "Oh
I always
yeah, he
knew there was
was."
something not right there.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe if you'd
That's
say something
where
ahead of time.
if you see something, say something, I guess came to
Exactly.
a came to like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I did see someone running through the parking lot like shouting things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Shaking a knife
um
in the air, but I didn't think anything of it.
So apparently Brian didn't like social media, but he did like curating Gabby's social media. Um, but he also critiqued her posts and questioned her ideas, which is crazy.
Hmm.
Um,
So he was that guy.
okay. So he was that guy. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through my notes.
Yeah. I mean, I could
Okay,
let's.
so they had planned, so when they initially started traveling, they had only planned to travel for 4 months. They planned a 4 month cross country trip. Is that how long it takes to go cross country? I guess so. 4 months
Well,
sounds about right.
no. I mean, you could do it
If you're like
much
stopping.
quicker. No, yeah. I mean, that's somebody planning to take. take their time and go different places. I mean, if you were literally like driving from Florida to California, you could do it in, I don't know, a week maybe. Like it doesn't literally take that long, but it would take a few days. It would definitely take a few days.
Mm, okay. So, August 12th. That's around the time that you were at, right? August 2021.
Right. I have that they started on July 2nd of 2021. That's
Well,
when they left
yeah.
Florida. Yeah. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, August 12th, 2021. Um, this is a moment I guess a lot of people pretty much look at as the turning point for them.
Right.
They were in Moab, Utah, and a 911 caller reports a couple fighting. The man is seen slapping the woman. Police pull Gabby and Brian over. So there is body cam footage of that incident. Have you seen it?
I have. Yeah. I've seen it. I remember at the time when this story was going on, I remember seeing it.
Yeah. And Gabby was basically crying and shaking and apologizing profusely, and she was even
Apologizing to the police for having to be there is what
she
it
was
was.
like
Yeah.
calling herself mean and
Yeah.
crazy and like
Yeah.
on insulting herself, which is so sad.
Right.
Um I think like watching that, you also, me as not a 22-year-old anymore, you also just see like, oh my gosh, she was just so young
Yeah.
and like
The youth,
really,
the naivety.
yeah,
Yeah.
like she really just thought she had,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is the part for me that's tough because and I remember thinking it at the time, but um like how do the police just say to the two of them, "Okay, well, head on your way." I mean,
Well, Brian during that moment though, if you remember, he was very calm. He was like very detached. He was like trying to connect the story. And at that point, I think the police almost looked at Gabby as the aggressor for it, especially considering how like hysterical she was versus how calm he was. They weren't they were looking at her as the aggressor, I believe, at that point. Or like interpreted her, I guess, as
right,
the
right,
aggressor.
right,
Um so yeah, they separated them for the night, no charges, no follow up, which was I think really crazy. I think, but I guess
right.
that stuff happens all the time. I don't know what I would assume law enforcement should do in that case,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in any situation where there's some form of clearly just I don't know, domestic abuse or just
right,
craziness like that, I'm guessing to them there really is no other solution except just separating them, but I
right.
definitely think there should at least be a follow-up to both parties, um just to check in, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I guess
Yeah,
just
the
for
the thing I
safety.
have even says um they decided not to arrest either party despite visible signs of a struggle, which I mean maybe that
Yeah.
was it too if they both, had marks or something from it that they were like, oh well, two of them were, acting up and I'm sure that they also see a lot of cases where, those kind of things happen. Maybe it's people have too many drinks or something. And not that there's ever a reason to get violent, don't get me wrong, or an excuse, but
Yeah.
they probably see those kind of things and 999 out of 1,000 or 999,000 out of a million are,
Mhm.
not this one was. So
Oh, yeah, exactly. So after the Moab incident, things definitely that's when things ended up going downhill. Almost 10 days later, on August 21st, Gabby FaceTimed her dad, and nothing seemed wrong at that point. So, I guess even her family at that point, they're not thinking. I don't know. I couldn't find anything if her family. I mean, I guess after the fact, her family knew about the Moab incident, but I don't know if
right.
during that time they even knew that that whole thing happened. But yeah, she FaceTimed her dad on the 21st and everything seemed fine. August 25th, Gabby spoke to her mother for the last time. Her final Instagram
And
post
that's
went up,
yep.
cheerful, curated, and calm. So sad.
Yeah, that's
And
the on that the page when I had it up there. That was the one that you see there is from. It's like when you go into it, it's kind of creepy because it was from the 25th.
and investigators later said that Gabby was likely already dead or very close to it by that time as well when that post went up. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So August 27th in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, witnesses later report seeing Gabby crying, visibly distressed, and in public arguments with Brian.
when was that one?
Oh wait, that was the 27th. So I guess she
Oh,
still was.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know what that's talking about the investigators at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah, they saw her on the 27th crying, visibly distressed, and in public arguments with Brian. That same day, CCTV shows them at a grocery store. This is the last confirmed photo or footage of Gabby alive. Um, Sometime between August 27th and August 30th, that's when Gabby was killed. Um, she passed away through strangulation, which, like, what I was reading about that is crazy because even like past true crime things that I've listened to before, to strangle someone, they say, especially to kill them doing it, um, most of the time it's like a super personal attack because man, I don't have the exact time. I think it's like 4 minutes or 7 minutes, or it's a pretty long time that you have to really like hold someone there
Right, right.
until they die. Like I remember when this whole case was going on, somebody was talking about it and they were talking about the amount of time you have to strangle somebody for them to actually pass away. And they were like, let's just sit here for a second and wait out that time and imagine this person who is supposed to who you're engaged to, who you think loves you and you think you're so in love with them, sitting there just strangling you for that
Yeah,
long.
yeah. Well, they also said like blunt force trauma too, so I don't know what that means. Like, but why? First of all, why they list it as both, unless they don't know for sure which one. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
it was like the strangulation that made her pass away, and then he might have hit her beforehand.
Right,
So
right.
she had blunt force trauma, but that's not what killed her. The
Yeah, that
strangulation
makes
is what
sense.
killed
That
her.
makes sense. Right.
Um so on September 1st, Brian returned to Florida alone in Gabby's van. He didn't notify police, he didn't contact Gabby's family. He hired a lawyer instead.
Yeah. And he also
Red
used
flag.
he also used her debit card uh on the way back and transferred some money to himself from her account, which was.
What a douche bag.
Yeah.
In the words of mom.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You kill your girlfriend, steal her van, and then steal her money.
Yeah.
Wild. And then he
Well,
hired a lawyer because he knew he
and
was
he hired a
guilty.
lawyer. The thing that I don't, and I guess timelines of these things, when you're looking at it in retrospect, the timeline is a real thing, right? But
Yeah.
but that time from September 1st, so then September 11th was when his mother filed, or her mother rather, filed a missing
Mhm.
persons report, because they hadn't been able to get in touch with her since what, the end of August.
Yeah, August 25th and
Yeah.
well 27th. well,
Yeah.
27th they were spotted. So yeah, the 25th was the last time her mom heard from her, and
Yeah.
it
So
was
that's
even a little bit longer since her dad last heard from
yeah.
her.
So that's like a couple of weeks. And
Yeah.
I guess they didn't know at that point that he was back, right? Like they didn't know where he was.
Well, she also was a big poster.
Right.
She was uploading constantly and posting constantly. So I think that also, I'm assuming, drew some red flags,
Right.
because someone's on a road trip because they want to like be this, influencer and blog and post and all
Content
this stuff,
creator, yeah.
and then they're not posting for a little bit. I mean, that alone
Right.
lets off some alarm bells, I think.
Right.
Aside from, okay, they're not calling me, they're on the road, maybe they don't have signal because they're going through all these different,
Yeah.
mountains and hiking and busy and all that stuff, whatever, but they're also not posting. Okay,
Right.
double whammy.
Yeah, then that's true. That you can't get in touch with them is one thing, but when it's somebody that's, you know, doing that trip for the express purpose of posting and then they stop posting, yeah, that's a
Right.
real red flag. And then
Um, yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. Because that's where I wonder, okay, so he was back in Florida at that point. Like 10 days earlier,
Yeah,
he'd gotten back to Florida.
he got back to Florida on September 1st.
Yeah.
On September 19th, that's when her body was found in Wyoming.
Right.
So September 11th, she was reported missing. And then the 18th, less than 10 days later, about basically a week later, I guess,
Yeah.
um, her body was found in Wyoming. And yeah, I guess that's when the fear of all of it became reality, which is really sad.
Yeah. And
Um,
but so I think it was before the body was found, though, because I have something that says that he was named a person of interest, and well, it must have been after her body was found because he was named a
well,
person of interest, and an arrest warrant was issued for him using her card, her
so
unauthorized
it's
use of her card.
that's because once her body went where once she was reported missing on the 11th, that's when social media started exploding
Right.
over it, and that's also when, you know, TikTok users and YouTubers and everyone, that's when they all started also analyzing a bunch of things. That's when everybody started looking into timelines. Everyone started looking into the body camera footage.
Hmm.
That's kind of that all that happened before her body was even found. So once she was reported missing, it kind of blew up pretty fast, and like, that's when all the internet sleuths really went
Yeah.
into went into full time.
Yeah.
So, um because they also, that's also during that time, that's when people started saying like, "Oh yeah, wait, I saw that van. Oh yeah, that van, that's when I saw this couple arguing,
Right.
and oh look, they also had this police report from, well, I guess it wasn't ever filed as a report, but oh yeah, here's the body camera footage from when they were stopped at this time." And
Hmm.
oh, that's when that one couple, there was like a couple that came out who said that they saw them and they were arguing. So that's when it kind of blew up just amongst that week. um so after September 19th, once her body was found, that's when Brian ended up vanishing into the Florida Nature Reserve. For weeks, they were searching for him. And then in October 2021, his remains were found.
Yeah.
The cause of death for him
October
was
20th.
self-inflicted gunshot. Yeah. It was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And in a notebook, he confessed to killing Gabby and framed it as mercy. Medical evidence contradicts his story.
Yeah, I do
Um,
I do remember in that time frame before, I think it was when she was first reported missing and it all kind of got fired up, and um I do remember, and before they found the body, I do remember there was like news crews constantly in front of that Brian's house
Oh,
because
yeah.
at that time police were looking for him and they were claiming they didn't know where he was. Parents were claiming
Mhm.
they didn't know where he was. Um,
Yeah.
which I remember was kind of one of the interesting aspects of it because like what are you doing? You know, like why are you, you know, I get it, it's your child, but if he did this horrible thing, like how are you gonna, you know, cover up for
Well,
that?
and they never even, even when he came back apparently, they weren't asking about where is she? Why do you have
Right.
her van? She's nowhere to be found. Like they really looked at it as like a cover up, and apparently then his parents had some connections with like law enforcement too. So people were also saying that like I guess there was some connection with that. Like, oh
Uh,
well, that's why nothing's happening to the parents and nobody's looking into the parents because they have some connect. There were a lot of I don't know if you looked into some of them, but there were a lot of conspiracies. There's a conspiracy out there now that Brian's not even dead and that was
wow.
covered up and framed. Yeah, a lot of crazy conspiracies out there about that.
Wow.
But yeah, cuz then there so he was framing it as mercy basically that Gabby was hurt and he only knows how to like take care of or deal with animals when they're hurt. So he basically she was hurt and he put her out of her misery like you would a
Wow.
deer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um but but that's when the medical evidence contradicted his story that he tried to apparently write down and talk about.
Yeah.
Um
I had some notes too that I guess there were several lawsuits filed after the civil lawsuits, and one of them, her family got a wrongful death judgment against his estate for $3 million, which I don't know how that kind of stuff works. I mean, did he have $3 million, or is that like an insurance end up being some kind of insurance claim or something like that? And then they also sued his parents and for emotional distress over, you know, the cover up and the, you know, whatever they knew, and that
mhm.
was settled. That lawsuit was actually settled in 2024, so not that long ago.
Yeah, I did read that as well. In Gabby's honor, her family established the Gabby Petito Foundation, which supports domestic violence survivors and improves missing persons search protocols as well, which I think is always really cool when someone does pass
When
away. And
positive, yeah, when positive
yeah,
things
like
come out of it.
obviously it's such a unfortunate thing to happen, but I think it honestly keeps that person alive a little bit a little bit more when there's some sort of law or whatever that's passed
Right.
as a result, unfortunately, of them passing away because you know at least hopefully that ends up helping somebody else moving on like
Yeah.
that. This is off the case that we're doing today, but that one other little girl who ended up dying in Florida locally. You know the one I'm talking about, the 13-year-old. I think she was 13 and the stepdad, or I don't even think he was a
Oh,
stepdad,
right,
the mom's
right,
boyfriend.
right,
And they
right,
ended up passing that law after that where
right.
they let you know in the morning if your kid is missing from school.
If they
They let
don't
you
show
know
up.
in the morning.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It also makes me think of another local case, right? The little boy that that died at Disney. Um, that was, I think it was a gator grabbed him at one of
Oh
the
yeah.
Disney resorts, and the family like didn't sue Disney over it. They didn't do anything like that. But what they did do was they established a foundation in the son's name, and Disney, you know, has done a lot of the funding for it, which I thought it
Oh
was very
yeah.
cool that the family didn't, like, you know, look at it as a chance to get a paycheck. They did, you know, something positive came out of it, Um, and I thought that was really like something else. And so I think, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like when bad things happen and people can, find something positive in it. I think that's great.
Um, yeah, I also saw that in between 2022 and 2024, there were a lot of lawsuits and, a bunch of controversy around it by Gabby's parents. They filed a bunch of civil suits. There was one, a wrongful death claim, which was against Brian's estate. That was the $3 million award you were talking about. There was also a separate lawsuit against Brian's parents, which was settled in 2024.
Right.
But even the 3 million one, are they ever going to get that money if he doesn't have it, his family doesn't have it? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know how they award that kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
you
I don't
said, I
either.
mean,
Yeah.
even in an insurance thing, like I don't think he was just as young as Gabby. He didn't even have a real job, you
Right.
know? It's
Right.
not like he had a good job with like a crazy I don't know, life insurance policy
Right.
that they could even like take from. So, yeah, there was also a separate lawsuit against Brian's parents, which settled in 2024. And then there was a wrongful death lawsuit against the Moab police alleging mishandling of the August 12th incident.
Right.
That was dismissed, but it's still under appeal to this day.
Yeah, I don't know
So,
what. I mean, yeah, I don't. As we've talked about, I don't know that there was more that could have been done than was done. Um,
yeah.
in retrospect, you go, "Oh, they should have done more," but it's tough to judge that. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
think it was probably dismissed just because on their behalf, unfortunately, they were just following protocols that
exactly. Yeah.
they're trained to follow. Whether it would like that's I guess where the laws after someone passed away come from of, that's when new things are formed of creating a follow-up for police when they
Right.
deal with a situation like that.
Right.
And not even I guess a follow-up, but like a I don't know, I guess because then some people might say that police don't have that kind of time to constantly be following up, but hey, that's your job, man.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's it. Exactly.
yeah, but like to create a follow-up of following up the next day, following up 3 days after that, following up 1 week after that.
Right. Yeah, and but even in that circumstance, if it's somebody who is traveling like that and something like that happens, like those
Right.
police, like they don't know where the person's going. And yeah, maybe you have their cell phone and or you tell them they need to call in and check in with you or something, but you know, ultimately that
At that
wouldn't
point,
have.
they're 3 states over
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about it? Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing I'm just reading about his parents. And it says when she went missing and Brian returned on September 1st, alone with her van, but without her. Um, they said they didn't know what happened to her and claimed they didn't know he'd killed her at the time. And you might not assume something like that, but like,
Mhm.
if that was me, if I was his parents, I'd you'd have suspicion, especially if once she was reported missing, you know, you'd want to get out of them like what happened. So I, did he confess it to them? Who knows? Did they have suspicion? I mean, I would think they had to, right? I mean, and their
Yeah.
attorney said he had no knowledge of Brian's whereabouts. He had no knowledge of Brian's. They actually, he stated they had no knowledge of Brian's whereabouts. And said
Well,
that
yeah,
they were
because his parents
cooperating.
were the ones. They were the ones who reported him missing.
Right,
So,
right,
who knows if that was. Of course, it could have been they were working with him. That's what a lot of people thought back then was that he basically they told him like, okay, take off, go hide. I don't know.
right.
Like they also think that his parents knew that he was about to kill himself, and that's why
Yeah,
they said their goodbyes to him or whatever, and then they just reported him missing. I don't know.
yeah,
But
Um,
Even the fact
so
that he took his own life instead and could have left a note, I think is also crazy because
yeah,
you can't even face the music, bro.
yeah, right. Well, and I mean, it does say that like they ended up giving some kind of evidence to the FBI that led to them finding him. So they must have had that. That tells me they had some idea where he went, that he went,
Oh,
into that location. So that makes me wonder, did they know that he was going there and thought he was just going to go and try to hide? And then, like, they couldn't get in touch with him. Maybe they had he had a cell phone and they had the number or something like that, burner phone even, and they couldn't get in touch with him. That may be why then they gave it to them, because they were like, well, now we can't get in touch with him. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. Um, Overall, so sad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm glad her videos are still up. I'm sure her family. I don't know if they would view them all the time though, because I know that's also hard for some people
Yeah.
um after the fact to like view, but I like it because it still holds her memory of who she was.
Yeah. Yeah. Where I would have difficulty is and there are some that have him in them.
Him in
Any
it,
of them that had
yeah.
him in would be difficult for me. And I don't know if they have access. I would think that they can get access to her login. I don't know
Yeah.
how that works when people pass away, but
Mhm.
uh, I would want those removed. I wouldn't want any with him on them. Um,
Yeah.
on there, because that would be hard to deal with her. It's at least a memory. Most of them are at least happy looking photos, so it would be, remembering her in a happier way. Um, but yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, tough story. A lot of these are tough stories, but this one's definitely a tough story. Another one that involved Florida, which I didn't remember that, like when we talked about doing this one. I was for some reason thinking it was like, where everything happened, that was where the story was. Um,
Yeah.
so then as I
No,
was
they were
reading
in.
it, and yeah, it was Florida
Mhm.
centric. That made it interesting.
Yep. It's always in Florida, apparently.
Yeah, well,
I
that
think
goes
it's
to,
just it seems that way though just because we're more open than other states.
we're more open.
Like our information
It's
is
more publicly available. Well, we're also, I mean, we're
mm.
a decent sized state, right? From a population standpoint, I think, are we the third largest? We
And
might
you know
be,
what? It's not
maybe.
Florida people. It's cuz everyone outside of Florida likes to move here and then
That's
act
true.
crazy. But
That's
I
true.
guess it is a lot of like
Yeah,
natural Floridians that also
yeah.
act kind of
There's
crazy too. So,
there's some
yeah.
Florida people involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I hope maybe if you checked out this episode, we gave you some information that made you, you know gave you a little more information maybe on the story that you didn't know, or
Mhm.
just some things to think about. And yeah, this one was interesting to looking back on this one for me, because I did find out some things that I hadn't heard before, didn't remember.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, little refresh.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for checking out this True Crime Thursday episode, and check us out again with a new episode on Tuesday that is not as depressing.
Woo! Bye everyone.